Hey guys, RC here. We are back with our next episode. This will be episode 10 of our Help a Yank Learn the Game FM Football Manager 2017. If you're just finding this video, I am the Yank. I live in the States. I do know about the game of soccer. Don't stone me, please. Yes, we call it soccer here, and I understand it's football everywhere else in the world, but we have our own football. And I am a fan, big fan of that game. But I do love the game of soccer, of football, European football. This is my fourth version of Football Manager, and it frustrates me no end because I don't understand it. I can't play the game, and if you watched any of the earlier videos, you know I started off with Football Manager 2009, went to 12, then 14, and then from 14 I just picked up 17 maybe 2 weeks ago, beginning of September. And I watched a ton of YouTube videos in addition to putting out my own YouTube channel. And I've been watching a lot of Football Manager videos recently, and and honestly, when I'm watching the guys that do it, it looks like they're just throwing stuff against the wall and seeing what sticks. But it's like, because they know the intricacies of the game, they know, they kind of already have a preconceived idea of, okay, I can run a 4-5-1, I can run a 4-4-2, I can run a 4-3-2, 2-1-2, or whatever it is they're running, and they just throw tactics out there, and it's like, all right, but why are you picking that, and how do you know that, and why did you make this guy a shadow striker, and why did you make that guy a target man, and why is this guy a wing back and not a fullback, and the other guy's a fullback and not, and my mind just goes, blows up. So I don't understand, and it just frustrates me. And I think that's the part, because when I get into the games, I get on these losing streaks, and I can't turn it around. And the only way I have won games ever on a regular basis in Football Manager is downloading plug and play tactics that other people have put up on Steam or whatever. And I don't want to play that way. I want to be able to make my own tactics and design my own thing, because in a way, when I do that, if I use their tactic, it's like I'm just playing their game. I'm not playing my own game. And that's the same reason I don't go after the mods that show you all the Wonder Kids and things of that nature, right? So, that's just my opinion. I had already recorded this episode, and then when I finished, I had redone some of my recording settings, because in the last two videos, as you'll note, I had gotten it working with the up to 1080p, but they were taking forever to upload to YouTube. So I said, well, let me tweak it a little bit, and I dialed it down. So the last two videos I think were in 720. So they may not be as good. So in this one, I've dialed it back up to have the 1080, and I'll just deal with the upload times, as going forward. So anyway, I will have the 1080p, but when I did it, it cut my screen, so the recording area only came out to maybe like right here, this corner where my mouse is, and so I had to enlarge it. In fact, let's see, yep, so basically the red box was way up in here somewhere because I had resized it. So anyway, I think we've got the recording fixed up. This video is not going to deal with tactics or the game itself. Okay, so if you're looking for that, let's go ahead and skip to the next video probably. This one is going to be more for people like me that really are trying to understand the game, and basically we're going to go through some basic game fundamentals that I am at least aware of, and some things that some of our contributors in the comments, and thank you again to those guys that have taken time to put some thoughts up. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. You guys have no idea. Anyway, let's see. I do want to set a timer here, I suppose, for the video length. So that's what we're going to do in this video, is we're just going to kind of cover some of those topics. So let's pop into my browser, and we're back on episode 6. So if you want to look at their comments yourself, go ahead and click over to episode 6 on my YouTube channel, and that's where all these comments are coming from. And this is from Sephiroth988. Again, kudos on the Final Fantasy reference. Love that game. Haven't played it in a long time. I forget which one it was. There was Final Fantasy, I don't know. I'm not even going to throw the number out there because, you know, don't want to embarrass myself. All right, so actually, let's go to, was it 7 that had? No, it was this one. Okay, so yeah, first thing he talks about is hiring your coach. Now, in my case, I offered a coach, and then it turned out to be screwed up. What he's talking about here is, let's go to staff and then staff search. All right, so this guy right here, George Rooney, you'll notice in his roles he has 2 positions, head coach and scout. Okay, some people only have one, some people have multiple. So he could be a coach, a scout, or a goalkeeping coach. Okay, when you go to make an offer to them, okay, you have to pick the job you want them for. And when you offer the job, sometimes they'll accept it. More often than not, they will give you some type of counter offer, right? And if they counter offer, you have to pay attention, which I did not do, to what they change. I pay attention to the salary and the length and the clauses, but sometimes they'll actually change the job. So I may offer the guy a coach job, hit suggest, and it may come back that he wants to be an assistant coach. Well, I'm not trying to hire him there, so I've got to change that back and, you know, make tweaks. So the best thing to do there is, if you only want him for a particular position as well, hit the lockbox, and that locks in. He can't change that. That's telling him that's the only job I'm interested in for you, dude. All right, so that is something. And you know what happened was, I was trying to hire a guy as a fitness coordinator, fitness coach, and he countered and changed it over to head physio. Well, I already had a head physio, but I didn't find that out till he popped into my inbox and said, I'll take the job. And then my chairman said, you can't hire him, you've already got one. And you know, then proceeded to tell me I was an idiot, and he was wondering why he hired me in the first place, and that was a whole different discussion. But anyway, so Sephiroth caught that. Thank you. I did catch it, but unfortunately I had to wait till the game told me that I was stupid. General training. All right, so now we're talking about training. All right, so when you come to the training screen, you have an overview with lots of pretty graphs that, you know, you could look at these and they'll tell you a little bit, but basically we have 7 injured guys. We have 15 guys that are just out of shape, fat and out of shape slobs, lacking match sharpness, that they're just not ready to walk on the field and compete. Bunch of guys that are tired, and 2 guys that are actually ready to play. Well, it's a good thing we're in the middle of our friendly season, our preseason. Then we have the team, individual, and coaches. So a little more information on this, but I'm going to jump down. He doesn't say it, but he does say that we'll talk about this a little more, but training is kind of important. So when we go in and look at the team training, this is kind of, he says this is important, but if you go into your staff and your staff responsibilities under training, if you have everything assigned to your assistant coach, which you can do during your setup of the game, when you have that initial meeting with your coach, with your assistant coach, then you don't control any of this training stuff. He controls all of that. So this will all be grayed out. So you have to come into your setup here, and you have to change training over to you for at least the senior squads, if not all the squads. Also for scouting, make sure that you're the one setting assignments, and we'll get to that in a minute. That way I don't have to come back to this screen. So you should control the scouting assignments, and you should control all the training for the first team or the senior squad. All right, so now let's get into why. All right, so if we go to team, let's go back to Sephiroth's comment. Training affects how players develop. Now, make sure that we understand. Let's just pick a player. You'll notice that all players have 3 columns: technical, mental, physical. Training on fitness will make them focus on this column only, so these ratings will improve, but these ratings will not. If you go tactical, these ratings, and I think it's tactical, but these will get better. These two will stay the same. They won't change at all. So again, in training, all right, you can focus on balanced, fitness, tactical, ball control, defending, attacking, team cohesion. And you can mouse over, it will tell you what it will do. But he says, especially in the early going, it's better to stay balanced. Why? Because that way they improve in all aspects. So generally it's better to do that. And then if you have something specific for a player, you can go into the individual training and set them up to focus on additional focuses, working on a new position, what have you. All right, so I think that's what we're talking about there. Do not focus on match preparation during the preseason. So that was something one of our other guys mentioned. Up here at the top, you have this little slider bar, and you see more match training, less match training. Right now, we're in the preseason, and as he says, don't focus on match during the friendlies. So we've put it to, oh, well, hold on. I wouldn't focus on match preparation during the preseason. Match fitness and sharpness. Okay, so, well, let's slide that back this way then. Now, that's a lot of rest, right? Let's rest the day before a match only. All right, so these blue days, I think, are practice days, right? So there's rest days. We'll have, so I believe these blue days are practice days. I think so. All right, and we're focusing on balanced. Let's see if I change that. No. Maybe that color changes later on. All right, but I'm wondering if that's color coordinated with this. Right now it's gray, which is balanced, so that means that on these gray days they should be general training, right, which should help them get in shape. We're focusing less on match tactics, so the dark gray is only on the half day of the matches themselves. That's what that looks like. Am I interpreting that right? I hope so. All right, what else? Now, that's during the preseason, so as you go into the regular season for your actual games that count towards the standings, you'll want to shift that more towards match training at that point. All right. All right. We already talked about the scouting and turning it on to yourself. Leaving scouting to your head coach is a bad idea, and thank you, because you gave me why. Why is it a bad idea? Because you actually have to pay your scouts for their travel, which ups your expenses for your club. And he may send scouts around all over creation, all over the world. Now, with Colchester, I can only scout the UK and Ireland. Right here, scouting. The board have indicated they will allow scouting within the UK and Ireland only. Now, he also says don't go to Ireland, Northern Ireland, and Wales. They are unlikely to produce any good players. They might, but just due to the sheer capita, the sheer number of players that are generated in England and Scotland compared to these three countries, you may get one or two players for every 20 players generated for England and Scotland. And so the odds of one of those one or two guys being really good isn't very high. So you're wasting your money by going there trying to find a gem. You're better off scouting where the bulk of the players are to get more players scouted. So that makes sense. Now, he says send scouts for Colchester. He would send one to England, one to Scotland, find players with at least 3.5 star potential, and put the duration on ongoing. So how do you do that? You go into scouting. I've already done this because, like I said, I've already recorded the episode once. Yay. But we can look at the assignments right here. All right, so I've got a list of players. First off, those guys are being scouted because they were referrals or somebody that, one of my scouts, saw and said, hey, maybe they're worth looking at. But here's the two, England, and let's look at the details. So we're looking for, actually, it should be, all right, let's go in. I'm going to create a new assignment. All right, I want a report for a nation, England. All right. I'm gonna select loan as well. And I'm going to, there's not a way, it doesn't look like, to select all three. Okay. On this one, I want end of contract. And I think that's an interesting one because that's where you can pick up guys all the time. Now this one I'm going to reduce probably down to, I'm going to say 29. That way they're still, and we want to go up to 3.5 star potential. But for end of contract, these are going to be guys that I want to be able to come in and play right now, for me. So I'm going to up that lower ability. So we're going to start, and that's ongoing. Now, is there a way to combine those, Sephiroth, or anybody else that's watching? Is there a way to combine those? All right, so I've got a lot of scouting assignments. I have made an offer to a 4th scout, so hopefully that helps with their workload and starts bringing on more players to me. But we have 14 active jobs, and we only have 3 scouts. We'll have 4 in a minute. So these won't happen overnight, but a lot of these players happen very quickly. I don't know why that guy's listed twice. Oh well. All right, so that's how you create a new assignment. That's how you choose. And as he says, but I didn't want just transfers. I mean, I want expiring contracts because I know I might be able to get those guys on a free or a reduced fee, right? And then freeze as well. So not just transfer players. I want, I'm interested in loan players, but and again, that's higher because I want players that can come in and play right now. This one, transfers, they can be young. If they're really young, I don't mind the lower ability. And end of contract, I want them to be a little bit higher. So anyway, that's what I've done there. Let me know what you think about those decisions. is there a way to combine those, or do you have to do 3 separate jobs to find that out? All right, so we've addressed that. All right, let's bump into, all right, so that is basically the notes. This is just kind of background stuff. So yeah, I've gone in, I've made the offer for that new scout to try to up my scouting staff. So hopefully that'll bring me on one more scout. I may try to bring on another one. I don't want to go too high. So I guess another question, is there any issue, I mean, I know you have to pay the fees. Does this count towards your weekly or annual salary budget? Does your coaching staff count towards that? So when we look at finances and they say we have an annual budget of 3.8 million and we're spending 3.6, if I add a scout in there, does that get added to this as well, or is this only for the players? So that's something I don't know. Yep, I think that's about it. So we're going to go ahead and call that the end of this video. Again, I wanted just to kind of go over some of the general aspects that were being brought up, and I think that's all good information to have for people in my position. So hopefully some of the other newer FM players or people that want to play FM or maybe try FM again like me, this will be helpful to them. So if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. That'll help some of those other newbie players around the world find it and be able to benefit from your knowledge and contributions. Thank you once again for those of you that have watched it and taken time to give some thoughts and feedback to try to help me and other people like me. Much appreciated, guys. Thank you very much. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.